Hi there, welcome to Photo Time with Anderson, and we are going to talk about how to do bokeh right now. So here we have this wonderful picture that we took in class, and I went ahead and edited this already in Lightroom. I'm going to turn this guy down a little bit. I went ahead and edited it exactly how I want it in Lightroom already. So you definitely want to do that. So going through this, I lightened up the face a little bit. I darkened the background, okay, and then you kind of get into Camera Raw in Photoshop. And now I have these three images open in Photoshop. So we took all of these images just in class against the studio backdrop. So once we have these open, I want to actually bring more of this like foreground blur into the image. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Arrange and Float All in Windows is usually the easiest way for me to do this, because what I actually want to do now is I want to take this layer that's right here and I'm going to go drag it onto this image, and then I'm going to do the same thing with this layer. Okay, so now that I've done that, I can go ahead and either minimize or close these guys out. Okay, and I am working with this, and I can go back to Arrange and consolidate to tabs. Okay, so now this is back in my workspace how I like it. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the eye off this guy, and I'm going to work with this guy. If I hit V or go to right here, it's going to be the move tool, so I can move this image around. But number one thing I want to do is, the magic of this is to switch this right here, the layer blending mode, to screen. And so now if you see, if I move this layer around, I have a very different look of it. It's basically gotten rid of that dark background, and I have created it so just the lights remain. Then I can come in here and I can go to Edit, Transform, and Scale. Okay, now the hotkey for that, or the short version for that, is Command T, and then it comes up with these little, you can rotate these guys around. So maybe I want to play with this a little bit here. And if you watch the Fleurin video as well, we saw that we want to be able to have the bokeh so that it is not, let's zoom back in here. So that it is not, oh, it's really annoying, we're just gonna come out of that. So that it is not covering up her face, and also so that it's not partial right here. Okay, so I zoom out a little bit and go to Edit, Transform, move this around till it's something that I like, and I can make it bigger, smaller, etc. Okay, and let's kind of do that. Let's double click and hit OK. Okay, and now what I want to do is actually put a layer mask on top of that. And then once I put my layer mask on, I can go to my brush tool right here and reverse that. And I can, anything I paint in black, okay, is going to go away. So I want to keep this nice and soft, and I can kind of come in here and start to, that's the number one thing I don't want to do right there, is I don't want to have like half of a dot. Okay, so let's undo that, and if I just hit X, I can actually paint that back in. So let's see, I'm going to hit X again. So this is what I want to do. I want to get rid of these that are kind of in her face right there, and that's okay that I'm partially getting rid of that guy, because I can just hit X, and then I'm going to hit the bracket keys to make it bigger, smaller, and I'm just going to paint that this one back in a little bit like that, okay? So I've got that around her face, and then let me come to this other one. I'm going to put the eye back on that one, and let's go to screen, okay? And we're going to go to the move, and we can kind of play around with these smaller ones. Edit transform. Let's see here. And I'm editing it with the knowledge that I am going to edit out that sort of wire that's in the middle there. And not sure how many of the lights that I will keep. So let's hit return. For some reason my zoom wants to keep zooming in quite a bit. And there we go, okay. And then I kind of do the same thing in there, which is come in with that brush tool and go with black. Okay, and I can take out these parts right here and work with that. I'm just hitting X for the parts I want to bring back, or making this bigger and smaller right there. So that'll take a little bit of work there in your layer masks to really get that have the end result that you're looking for, but it's definitely doable, and we can create this very cool effect. I'm not even sure right now if I need that one. But if I'm kind of thinking that already, I can also just play around with the placement, or I can just keep getting rid of some of the lights. Actually, I like that a lot better. I like maybe bringing the smaller ones down like that. I've got this image in here that I need to clean up these edges, kind of like soften up these edges with the brush tool. So let's do that here first. B, X, there we go. And just by doing that, we've just sort of faded it in and out. And here, let's see, I can't quite see where the top edge of that one is. So now we have it so that it looks like she's just in this wonderful parade of lights. We have this little bit in here. We'll crop that out in the end image. The last thing you may want to do with this is add some color effects. So you can do what's called a gradient map on top, layer, new adjustment layer, gradient map. You click OK, and it's automatically picking up the last colors that I had in my foreground and background. This is a little extreme, but things that we can do is we can take the opacity down or change the blending mode. Soft light is a nice one for this. So what I want to do is I want to come and I'm gonna bring into the highlights here. So it's a little green. Okay, are these are the let's bring like kind of like more like an orangey color that we're working with, and then have the opposite color be more like a nice sort of like deep blue. Okay, and click here, click OK. There we go. So now I have that nice blue in my shadows, and I have this sort of warmth in my highlights. There is before, and here it is after. Just bringing some depth in there. I've already changed it to soft light, so I could bring the opacity up more, or I could bring it down. I could also do, this is a little trick that I like to do. I like to duplicate that layer, and it'll increase the effects of that layer. That could be a little bit too much. I'm going to change this one back to normal, and then I'm going to take the opacity and just do this to that top normal layer, and that tends to sometimes soften up the whole effect just a little bit. So we can even more get that glowing look to the image, and I really like what that did to the highlights and particularly the shadows. So we need to crop that out and save this file, save as JPEG, and that's it. That's you just come down here. You can save it as a TIFF or a JPEG. I would save it as both. Your JPEG's the one you want to turn in, or that's one you could post to the internet, etc. And that's how we make some stunning bokeh right here in class. All right.